Welcome back to your Agenda programme. This is Katie Chambers. I'm in for Georgia all this week as she takes the shoes or fills the shoes, I guess is the expression, on the business breakfast. I'm just having a look out of our lovely studio window here. Can't see the Burj Khalifa so much today. It's looking a little bit cloudy, sort of smoggy out there. But what I can see are cranes and building work and just the city expanding rapidly at pace. And new data from the Dubai Statistics Centre has revealed that the Emirates population here has surged to 3.65 million by the end of 2023, which is an increase of more than 100,000 people in just a year. The fastest increase in the annual population apparently since 2018, and new projections suggest that we'll reach the 4 million mark by the end of this year, 2 decades ahead of schedule. And it is a sign of Dubai's continued appeal. We are a magnet here for global talent, investment, opportunity. But as this city swells, so too, sadly, does the pressure on housing, infrastructure, schooling, healthcare, transport, plus, of course, the cost of living. So, on the show today, we want to find out how Dubai is preparing for this acceleration, and can the city expand sustainably without compromising our quality of life? I'd love to know what your concerns are about this rapidly expanding city. You can get in touch with me. The text number is 4001, or I'm on the WhatsApp number, which is 04871 5500. It is, of course, a huge leap for this city in a short space of time. So I want to know what's driving this boom and what does it mean for the future of Dubai. I'm delighted to say that I'm joined now by Professor Stuart Geetle-Baston. He's a demographer at the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Professor.
Hi, Katie. Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Yeah, and I'm hoping you can unpack all this from a sort of theoretical point of view. I mean, how significant is it that Dubai could potentially reach 4 million people by the end of this year and in such a short time frame?
Well, I mean, it's incredible. And I should say, although I am in Hong Kong, until the year before last, I lived in Abu Dhabi. So I've seen it myself, right? I've seen this tremendous transformation of the city. And, you know, as you say, the numbers that we're talking about where, you know, the city is growing by 5, 6, 7, 8, 9% a year is really incredible. And, you know, it's a testament to the efforts of the emirate, the efforts of the government, and the kind of I think the ingenuity and the strength of the human population there, which has been able to kind of make this tremendous change in such a short time frame. And it's always the same, you know, when we go to the museum and we see the old photos of the creek back in the day, or of the Toyota building on Zayed Road, and now we see everything that surrounds it. I mean, it's phenomenal, really.
What are the main factors driving this rapid growth?
Well, I mean, of course, you know, the population growth of Dubai is primarily based on something which politicians, it's a strange thing, politicians around the world don't like to talk about immigration. They don't seem to appreciate immigration. Whereas, of course, what we see in Dubai is the ultimate success story, I would say, of immigration and of human movement, and you know, and also a kind of a diversity in immigration as well, because we see not only immigration, obviously in service work and in construction work, but also in professional services. As the news report just said there, you know, the UAE has just come top again in supporting small businesses and SMEs and entrepreneurial activity. So it's been this kind of ecosystem built around trying to bring people in from all over the world who are looking for opportunities to grow, to develop, and to make Dubai the incredible place that it is.
It is great. We are a magnet for all those sorts of things, but with that can come pressure on the whole ecosystem. What impact does it have on things like roads, housing, public services. We are going to unpack this in more detail with experts later, but just if you could sort of just give us a broad view on it, please.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, whenever you have rapid population growth, inevitably this puts a strain on public services, particularly in terms of health and schools and school places. And this is of all different types of services, whether or not these are private or public, they're expensive or for cheaper for different groups of people. Roads and public transport is obviously another major issue, which is important, but also in terms of quality of life, as you say, that, you know, if you are growing, if you have a city that is growing too quickly, then of course, you know, the broader infrastructure, which is not often talked about so much, things like parks, things like, you know, cycling routes, things like being able to get and do the basic things that you want to do, being able to get to and from the shops, being able to get to and from school in a relatively decent amount of time. All of these things can become negatively impacted if you are not planning for the future and planning ahead, because you can't build a motorway. Although Dubai can build things very quickly, you cannot build infrastructure faster than people will come. That's, I think, the fundamental challenge. So you have to have a plan. And, you know, I mean, fortunately, I mean, I think that Dubai has done very well in terms of planning ahead and thinking about where the city is going to grow and how the city is going to grow over time. And also there is a plan in the future, you know, this 2040 urban master plan about how the city is going to continue to develop in the future. So, I mean, you know, it's in relative terms, when you compare it to other cities in the world who are growing very, very rapidly and oftentimes have grown and expanded in a very kind of messy way, a very haphazard way, where you have urban sprawl, which is very disorganized, which is very unplanned. In that sense, Dubai has actually done very well. But on the other hand, when you're sitting on the Zayed Road at 8 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock at night, then you may well be thinking, well, how can we add another 1 million people to this? This is crazy.
And how can we add another 1 million people to this? And I know you say that there's a plan in place for this growth. Dubai is good at planning and, like you said, also very good at building. I mean, to me, it seems like things spring up here overnight. When I first moved here, there was this kind of troublesome roundabout near where I lived, and it pretty much disappeared overnight.
Yeah.
It was incredible. Are we planning enough for this growth?
Well, I mean, I think the issue is going to be whether or not Dubai is able to, well, people will have to make difficult decisions. Let's take the metro, for example, right? So when, you know, Dubai is well ahead of many other rapidly growing cities in the sense that it started building a metro, you might think relatively late, but actually in some ways relatively early, right? And planning for the metro. However, even though the metro is very busy, we can actually say there's still not enough use of the metro and there's still not enough use of public transport in Dubai relative to car use. If we think about how many cars we can get off the road if every single person driving a car just took one metro, right? Now, of course, that becomes an issue of transport infrastructure, of connections, of getting from the metro station to your home, which is always the most challenging thing because, of course, Dubai, in many ways, is not the most pedestrian-friendly city. It's certainly not pedestrian-friendly when it's 43 degrees outside. So thinking about those kind of last mile, if you will, or, you know, these last connections are very important. I think another issue, which is always difficult to consider when you have a big city like Dubai, is the extent to which you have one downtown area, or you have a kind of what we call like a multipolar city. Now, in this sense, actually, Dubai is doing very well because you do have, rather than just a single concentration of a downtown area, you do have these kind of different districts around the city, which could be described as like central business districts. So that gives you more of a kind of radius to build around, right? So that's a kind of a better model, if you will. And also, of course, Dubai, in terms of land, there is land, right? I mean, there is plenty of land still available. So the city does have room to grow, which is obviously very different to where, say, here in Hong Kong, you know, we can't grow much more because we don't have any land, right? The only way that we can get land is if we build out to sea. Now, Dubai can build out to sea, but it also can build on the existing land which surrounds the city. So it's not going to be easy, for sure, and it's going to be difficult, and it's going to be frustrating. But I think there are possibilities, and there is, I think, every reason to assume that this master plan, which involves not just building more stuff, I think, but to be fair, it's about building things better, and taking into account things like quality of life. That, I think, there's no reason to suggest why that shouldn't happen.
Professor Stuart Geetle-Baston, a demographer at the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. Thank you so much for that. And I was just going to make the point about land in Dubai. Obviously, we do have the sea, and we have built the Palm and the second Palm here. But where I live, which backs the desert at the top of Al Qudra, there is loads of land, and they are actually starting to build more communities out that way. So that might be the answer to our challenges here. I really